Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Odin's Movie Blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. How is everyone doing this evening? Welcome back to the One Man Low Council and episode 177 of the Welcome to Asgard podcast, which I have fallen so far behind on, but that is indeed the life at the beginning of the school year. So hopefully everyone is doing incredibly well. I hope everyone's week is going well. Mine has actually been going pretty well so far. Tomorrow, I actually have a day off, which is very, very nice because we're doing this once a month thing where it's an at-home learning day, but we've decided to turn it into a nice respite, a time for students to be able to catch up. It's just one day out of the month. And so we get to sleep in late. We get to, take a break, and we get to take care of things that maybe we need to take care of also. Like I need to mow the lawn tomorrow. I need to vacuum around the house. So all that kind of stuff is what I'll be doing on my day off. But obviously it is, I think, something still to be excited about because getting to sleep in is always a very, very good thing. So anyway, thank you for being here. And also another reason to be excited this week is that movie theaters are finally reopening. And I'm talking about the major chains. Obviously, theaters across our country, in the United States, across the world, in several areas have already been open for a very long time now. But the major chains, Regal, again, my local Regal is opening up theaters and opening up their movies starting this week. I believe it's actually this Thursday evening, if not Friday. So Regal is officially back, at least in my area. And if it's back in my area, something tells me that it's probably going to be back in a lot of people's areas. So if you have a Regal near you, check and see if you have Showtime showing up for this weekend. Cinemarks, I know, have also been in the process of reopening. And AMC's also open up this week. I talked about that a little bit the last time we had the show. And I mentioned how AMC is finally actually putting the ability to buy tickets available, which is more so than anything that has happened previously, which is why I honestly think that this time the theaters are actually going to reopen, and once they do, they're not going to go back, or at the very least not in a national way, right? So maybe certain theaters at certain locations in certain states, depending on the governors, depending on laws, they might have to force some theaters to do various things. But when it comes to the actual chains, they have begun the process of reopening, and that is something that I know I am very, very happy about because I would love to finally go see some movies back on the big screen because even though there are indeed some duds, even though there are, again, a lot of crap woke nonsense coming out of Hollywood, there's also a few gems here and there. There's also a few films that are at the very least worth seeing and worth talking about, maybe even worth laughing at. Like, for example, that movie Unhinged, which I now more than ever might try and see this coming week. Or at the very least when it becomes available in my area. So that's what I have to look forward to. But I hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's week is going well. Let's go ahead and dive into the YouTube chat. What's going on, YouTube peeps? We had Mr. Peabody, who's a member on the channel and a mod, who is here at 5:13. Okay, Peabody. I see what's going on. Why are you up that early? I know what time it is over there. All right, I know it's around 5 a.m. when you made that comment over in Australia. How dare you do that, mate? Get some sleep, dude. Come on. Cobra Viber 999, what's going on? Andrew Hoyle, who's a member of the channel, says good evening and hail to all. Hail to you, Andrew Hoyle. Thank you again for being a member. Laura Toth is a member as well, says evening. Hello. JKD Bucks in the chat. Orange Chat Reviews, what's going on, good sir? He's also a member on the channel. He said, just finished watching Gods of Egypt. I now understand the name. Yes, indeed, and hopefully understand that it's a CGI mess. If it's the Gods of Egypt that I'm thinking of with Gerard Butler, that's the one that comes to mind for me. Tina Bojan, what's going on? Harvey Weinstein. Well, that's quite a name. Harvey Weinstein, what's going on? Hyperdex13's in the chat. Stephanie B says, hey, what's going on, Stephanie B? She is indeed the general. She is the general of my Valks. However, one of my Valks, Tina, the Empress of the Universe, will not be with us tonight. She, indeed, I see, stopped by for a little bit to say hello, but she is hosting some peeps, having a night off, having some good old-fashioned fun with friends. And so, obviously, that is something that I will always promote because spending time with people is a lot of fun. But Stephanie B is indeed here, not just on time, but also early as well, and she will be taking the full reins, and I appreciate very much Stephanie B for being here. Mark Lazarus in the chat, what's going on, good sir? How is it going? Hopefully you're doing very, very well. Stream Elements, of course, is here. Keck44, what's going on? Golden Ration, how's it going? Planet Musk Vlog, what's going on? Don't know exactly what the message was there, but Alex McCarthy is a member on the channel. He's been a member for a while. What's going on, Alex McCarthy? Says, howdy, Odin. How's it going? Pizza news. I had pizza this evening. I had some pepperoni pizza with extra peps put on top, and it was good. Not the best I've had, but it's pretty good. I'm trying to find a way to get those pepperonis nice and crisp, because the rest of the pizza was fine and well cooked, but I just like crispy pepperonis more than anything else. Golden Ration then tagged me and said, good evening, Odin. Good evening to you, Golden Ration. Hope you're doing well. Mark Lazurth tagged me and said, they are promoting Unhinged being in the theaters like crazy here, so some theaters are opening around the country. Ooh, nice, Mark Lazurth. Aren't you one of my UK peeps? I think, maybe not. Maybe you're US bound. I never quite remember. Let me know in the chat. Just tag me in it. But yeah, it's pretty amazing to see how much promotion that movie is getting, because I've seen something similar here stateside, right, where Unhinged is just getting a lot of support. Obviously, the reason why it's getting a lot of support now is because it is its opening week, right? So it is actually opening officially in theaters, and it's really interesting how Unhinged now is officially the first, I guess you could say, major studio release to come back to theaters, which is a kind of, for if you've seen the trailer for the movie, you realize, I don't know if that's really the best film to be representing the comeback of movies and the comeback of Hollywood, but hey, it is what it is, I guess. But yeah, it's a movie that the more and more I think about it, the more I want to see it. Not because I think it'll be good, just because I got to see it. Hamlet's Tragedy 89 says, finally I'm here early. Yes, you are here early and on time. Lord Toth putting that disgusting image of pineapple on pizza with wine. How dare you? How dare you, Lord Toth? You upset me. You made me feel bad. How dare you? How dare you do that? But I hope you're doing well. Hope you are very much doing well. All right, so the chat has already jumped on me, as it always does, even this early in the show. So let's go ahead and find where we left off, because no comments were skipped, which is always a good thing. And Andrew Hoyle's comment at 7 p.m. on the nose says, hey, I have a haircut like that. Oh, really? Are you rocking the bald look too, Andrew Hoyle? It's very comfy in this heat, and especially while teaching, having to wear a mask. This has already reduced sweating tremendously. Now, I know what you're saying. Well, I'm sure if you cut the beard off, that would even, that would make it even more comfortable. And I agree. However, I love my beard, and I'm attached to the beard. It's kind of part of who I am, so it's going to stay for a little bit longer. But let me say hello to my D-Live peeps. What's going on, D-Live fam? Mr. Peabody was over there first. Alexander's over there. Captain Mr. Roy says, hello, Captain Mr. Roy. Hope you're doing well, Captain, oh Captain. And also, Alexander was surprised by the stream. And he shouldn't, because I always stream every Tuesday, every Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern. I've had that schedule now for the better part of, what, a year, 2 years now? I've had that schedule of the Tuesday and Saturday, and it's very rare that I miss. And if I ever do, it's because of a good reason. Captain K-Man, what's going on, Captain K-Man? Hopefully you're doing very well. Peabody tagged and says, welcome to Odin's bald head. Well, thank you, and you're welcome. I hope that you enjoy your stay right here on the bald head. Captain Nice is over there on D-Lab as well and says, Odin's cue ball blog. Oh, you're so funny. Let's see. Alexander Tagden says, have you seen Shadiversity? He's making a fantastic film. Indie. Nope, I have not. I'm behind on so many things. Peabody says, early, hard to read the clock upside down. Yeah, seriously. And the upside down, I guess, too early is really, could it really ever be early at all if it's all upside down anyway? He then says, I'm even worse with a compass. Let me check the digital clock. And I'm assuming that meant, was it 50L, 50 AM or something like that? As Alexander tags me again, says it's a fantasy film. Again, no idea. Adam and the Clan, though, has showed up. What's going on, Adam and the Clan? All right, let me jump back over to the YouTube, where I have some more people to shout out. So Zachariah315, welcome to the chat. Hyper X13 tags and says, hi, brother, how are you? Have you found a way in school? Nice that you're having a day off tomorrow. I am too. Yeah, it's going to be very, very nice just to sleep in that little bit extra, right? That extra hour or two can just make all the difference. And also it does give me some time to take care of things that have kind of been put on the back burner just because of all the stuff going on with school and, the weekends. We've had various things going on too. So it'll be nice just to have it during the week where I would already normally be working. And so I can almost use it as okay, well, I'm supposed to be doing something now anyway, so let me, do the work I need to, like, mow the lawn and go to the post office. I've not gone to the post office in like 2 weeks, so I know that I got something from Peabody, and I got to send something from Peabody to someone else. And that's totally okay, Peabody. Peabody, don't even worry about sending me anything, dude. I got it covered. It's all good. It's fine. Just don't make it happen again, all right? Don't send me 2 things when it's supposed to be 1. But I'm sure that I'll have some other things in there too, because as you all know, I do sometimes work with MVD Visual, who sends me not only their catalog titles, but also some Era Video titles as well. So I know there's a ton of stuff coming out this fall, and so I'm kind of wondering if I got any of that stuff, and if I do, what would it be? Because it could even include things like Flash Gordon on 4K, which would be awesome if that could actually be one of the things that I get. But I'll have to wait and see. So that's something I can finally do tomorrow, which would be very nice. 13th Warrior is in the chat. What's going on, 13th Warrior? How's it going? Zachary315 tagged and says, howdy. Howdy, howdy, how. Lord Toth is going to get some dinner. Hopefully you enjoy it. Griffin Turbo's in the chat. How is it going? Max Anderson, how is it going? Hopefully you are doing very well. Let's see. Lord Toth says, wait for the second wave of CV, of COVID. I don't think we're going to see a massive one, to be honest. I think that what we've found is that because now the testing is so robust, because we just are more knowledgeable about where it lives and for how long, there's still some things that we're still figuring out, but I think know it for the most part, where you might see like small spikes, right? You might see an increase in cases. I don't know, especially since, again, theaters are opening. They're not opening at full capacity, right? So I just want to get that out there, that theaters in most places are opening at a max of around 30% capacity. Maybe some are 50%. I don't know of any state, though, that's allowing their theaters to come back at 100% capacity. So even though the theaters are reopening, they're going to be doing social distancing. They say that they're going to be cleaning, and I know that they're going to. And the reason why I know this is because if someone happens to catch it and then it's found out that they didn't clean and they said that they would, that is a potential lawsuit, right? That is lawsuit territory. It'd be another thing, it'd be one thing if they didn't promise to clean and someone caught it. Well, at that point, hey, you're the one that went to the theater. You put yourself at risk. You knew that things were still going on. That's up to you. But if the theater is promising that they are taking certain measures, and if they follow up on those measures, then that's how they're protected legally. If they don't follow up on those measures, though, that is going to become a problem. And so that's why I don't think there's going to be a massive wave. I honestly don't. But we'll see. Again, I could be wrong on that. HyperNex13 tagged says, yo, Mr. White, you fulfilled my wish. Full Heisenberg mode. Well, I had this look rocking towards the end of the summer. And then, as you all know, because I tell the story all the time, I found out that I had like it's called a hemangioma on the back of my head, which is basically, it's a mole, but instead it's like a pink mole instead. Basically, it's just like a blood vessel type situation. And so got it taken care of. So actually got it, I guess burnt off is what you could say, or, cauterized. And then all of a sudden I thought, oh yeah, well, insurance for sure will cover this, right? Because I wasn't doing it for cosmetic reasons. I was doing it because, I was trying to keep the head shaved and kept cutting it, and that's not a good thing. And turns out, nope. Insurance says it's cosmetic, so therefore you have to pay more than what you expected to. So yeah, I got a bill and I was like, wait a minute. They're making me pay more than I would normally have to because they decided to send a sample off to get tested. It's like, to me, it doesn't even matter if someone was even doing something for it, purely for looks, right? If something's getting tested, that part of it should be fully covered, or should be at least, get the max coverage you can, because that's for health, right? Because if something turns out to be, not going well, hey, isn't that kind of the point of having insurance? But I digress. But anyway, so because of that, though, I had to let the hair grow back out because I wanted it to fully heal. And then I got lazy. It got too long. And so finally the wife was like, all right, I want to trim your beard anyway. So let's go ahead and, get that taken care of. So tomorrow morning I'll have to reshave it because it's about every 2 days for me. Some say it's 3 for them. For me, though, it's definitely going to be every 2 days because I'm already getting those little bristles coming back. All right. Lord Toe says movies. Yes, indeed. Lord Toe then says New Mutants would be nice to see in theaters. Yeah. So as I mentioned, right, the Regal Theater near me is open right now. Is opening this week officially. And so they're having a lot of classic films. Some are actual classics. I want to say, I think Jaws is in the mix. Empire Strikes Back is in the mix as well. But then they have other movies like Black Panther. And I'm like, not really classic. Just going to be honest. Even if you like Black Panther, come on, be honest. It's not a classic movie. All right, let's just at least be honest with that point. And so I think that that's something that is going to be interesting to see what movies are going to get a play in all of these different chains that are going to reopen. But one of the films that is currently on sale at my local Regal is actually New Mutants. So New Mutants tickets are on sale. So if I wanted to get it for Friday of its premiere, I could totally get it. I don't know if they're going to have a Thursday premiere or not. Sometimes theaters don't post that until the week of, but I don't know. For me, it's like, it's like at that point where I feel like I have to see it because it's been 3 years since it was supposed to come out. I don't believe that it exists. I have to see the movie to find out if it actually does exist. It's kind of my mindset right now. Bweezy Bird, I see that name in the chat. How's it going? 13th Warrior tagged me and says, have you ever seen Topsy Turvy? Are you a Gilbert and Sullivan fan? A Mike Leigh fan? Never seen Topsy Turvy. Don't know Gilbert and Sullivan. Mike Leigh, though, the director, I believe I have some knowledge of. Let me just go ahead and check his IMDb, just because, again, usually I know some directors and some of their stuff off the top of my head. His is a name that it sounds familiar, but I honestly couldn't say one way or the other. So let's see what other films he's done that maybe I've seen or maybe I've at least heard of. So he directed Mr. Turner. I thought Mr. Turner was well acted, a little on the long side, a little boring. So I guess the direction on that you could say was probably pretty good. And let's see, I think that might be the only film I saw. Yeah, Another Year, I remember the promotions for it. See, a look at 4 seasons in the lives of a happily married couple and their relationships with their family and friends. Jim Broadbent sounds familiar. I may have seen that back in 2010, but I honestly can't remember. So, yeah, it looks like I've only seen, as far as his direction goes, I've only seen Mr. Turner's the one that I can remember from about 2014. It's crazy that it's been that long since that film came out. Oh, time is flying too quickly. Bashy Washy, what's going on? How is it going? Soul Assassin's in the chat. How is it going, Soul Assassin? Glad to see you here. Orange Chat Reviews, who's a member of the channel, says, yes, it was, Odin. It was a CGI mess, but I subjectively enjoyed it. Yep, boom. There you go, Orange Chat. That's all there is, man. That's all there is. All you gotta be like is, boom, it's a mess objectively. The CGI is crap, but you know what? I enjoyed it. And you know what? I honestly don't remember if I hated the movie, to be honest. I don't think I loved it, but I don't think I hated it either. So take that for what you will. Let's see. JB Relish, what's going on? Rob D, thanks for tagging me. Again, if you have a comment or question, the tag is Odin Question. All one word, Odin Question. If you put those letters in that order, it'll highlight orange on my screen on YouTube, and it'll let me know you're trying to get my attention. So Rob D tagged me and says, hey, Odin, hope my comment doesn't get skipped. Just want to say hi. Can't watch tonight. Have to study for the CPA exam. Well, good luck, good sir. Good luck, Rob D. And thanks for stopping by. We have a new member on the channel, rather. Andrew Hoyle is not a new member. He has upgraded his membership to the Army of Asgard level. Andrew Hoyle, thank you very much for that support, good sir. And yes, that means that your name will be shouted out at the end of every live stream. So if you're a YouTube member at the Army of Asgard level and up, you get shouted out every live stream. So thank you very much for supporting. I appreciate it. Golden Ration tagged me and says, trying to get pizza for dinner. Boom, Golden Ration. I hope it works out. I hope that you're able to get it. 13th Warrior tagged me and says, I'm one of your okay peeps. Oklahoma peeps? Is that what you mean? Oklahoma. Oh, Oklahoma. Mark Lizard says, I live in New Jersey, near where Snooki had all her antics. Ooh, New Jersey. Ooh, good luck in New Jersey, man. So you said that they're actually promoting Unhinged? I thought New Jersey was one of those states that was like still on full lockdown. Though, again, I guess you could argue that they don't have to be, because I feel like much of the cases they probably had were all people that were living in New York or were commuting to New York for work and were just bringing it back to the state. And since, have you seen the videos recently of New York? It's like a ghost town. I'm assuming that a lot of people have just decided to not travel into New York and have just stayed out of it. So, you know what? That might be the reason why they can actually reopen their theaters. That would actually make a lot of sense to me. using reason. Slicer Neons, thanks for tagging me, says pizza without pineapple is heresy. Let's see, he says pizza plus pineapple is happy. Ew, Slicer. No, that's heresy. That is an offense worthy of excommunicado. And you never want to be declared excommunicado here. Grandmaster Yoda tagged and says, I'm not sure if it is smart of AMC to open when you have more cases infecting the U.S. than in my country's population. Well, when you think about population size, when you think about percentages, again, I just don't think that alone is a reason to not reopen. And it's not just AMC; it's all the major chains are finally going to reopen this week. And I'm sorry, we can't keep living in this state of fear. We have to go on and live our lives, being smart, doing everything that we can to try and limit the spread for sure. But we can't expect businesses just to continue to die. Again, regardless of your thoughts of Hollywood, regardless of your thoughts of the movie theater chains in general, I'm sorry, like I'm done with businesses getting destroyed because of this. That's it. Simple as that, man. Alex McCarthy tagged me, and as a member, says, I watched Artemis Fowl the other night, wasn't extremely wowed, but didn't hate it. Damn you, Alex McCarthy. Alex McCarthy, this is why your opinions on movies are terrible. All right? I think you've gotten one movie correct, one movie right the last several months. And this one was an easy one, Alex. This one was a softball. You ever hear in politics the term softball questions? Well, this was a softball movie for you, Alex McCarthy, for you to hit out of the park, home run. And what did you do? You flinched. You flinched, Alex, saying, I didn't hate it. Tell me one positive thing, objectively, about Artemis Fowl. Please, I'm waiting. That's just for Alex McCarthy. That's just for you, good sir. All right. The chat has jumped on me like it always does. So let me just make sure no comments were skipped. Luckily, none were. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it right there at 7:06 in the chat. 7:21. So again, about still 15 minutes behind. So don't copy and paste a bunch of comments, please. That would be wonderful if you didn't. Let me go ahead and jump back over to D-Live Fam. Let's see what's going on. Captain Heiss tagged me over there and says, most schools around here don't open for another 2 weeks. Yeah, I know a lot of schools, just in general, a lot of schools are waiting until after Labor Day weekend. So I'm glad that we didn't wait that long, because what it means is that when we eventually do get off, we get our full Thanksgiving break. And for us, we actually only have about a week after then. That's going to be this online learning, which I don't really know. We don't really know what it's going to look like right now, but because exams are going to be prior to it. But either way, though, once that week is over, essentially we get an entire month off for Christmas. So the fact that my Christmas break starts early December and we don't go back until early January, again, it sucks not to have a week that we normally would have for fall break. But you know what, man? To get the whole month of December off, that to me is worth it. And especially since by then, many theaters are going to be back. Capacities will possibly be increased. More movies are going to be available. We'll have a better idea of what theaters are doing it well, what theaters aren't. Probably also what theaters are going to have to start closing as well. So again, we'll just have a better understanding and a better grasp of that. So I'm excited to have a month off to be able to, go to the theater. But also too, and this is something that I'm going to need to start correcting myself on, because sometimes I'm thinking in this way and I'm like, but wait a minute, I'm not going to be able to do that, because in December, I'll then have at that point a 2-month-old. So, and obviously December is going to be very crazy, because it's going to be me taking on a lot of the responsibilities for that month while I'm home and giving the wife some rest. So that is going to take priority before being able to actually go to the theater itself. Adam Frank in the clan says, Echo is pregnant. We have puppies on the way. Yeah, puppies. Always a good thing. Puppy. Captain High says, just got my 4K Flash Gordon about a half an hour ago. Boom. Awesome. Glad to hear it, Captain Heiss. Yes, I know that there's a couple people that had gotten stuff. There's like one or two, I think, that when they won the giveaways, they chose a movie and it wasn't available yet. It was for pre-order only. So yeah, I know yours was one that went out, and I think there's a couple of the 3 that won recently. All those movies have since gone out, so you should be getting them. If you haven't gotten them already, you should be getting them very, very soon. All right, let's see. Captain Heiss, thank you for the 5 ice creams in the D-Live chat. I appreciate that very, very much so. Let's see. All right. Well, looks like Oh, Lord. Okay, so someone got... Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Yeah, calm down, bro. Gosh. All right, looks like my D-Live fam and my D-Live mods have a lot of a lot of people to take care of tonight. There you go. So all of my hammers over there, take care of these trolls that are coming in being a bunch of asshats. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll catch up with my D-Live fam once all that crap has been taken care of. All right, so I do have a donation. Thank you very much, James, for another $1 donation via Streamlabs direct link. I appreciate that very, very much. So he says, most guilty pleasure movie of all time. This one's always kind of tough for me because, does this include best worst movie of all time, like the movie that I think is the worst made but I still love it? Or do you mean a movie that other people hate but I personally, again, like, it's always tough, but the go-to answer for me has always been The Room. I think The Room is hilarious. It's, again, one of the worst movies that's ever been made, objectively speaking, and yet it is just so funny. It's so funny. So that is the one that I would go with. Let's see. Animation Commentator tagged me at 7:06 p.m. and said, personally, I think the entire year of 2020 is unhinged. I see what you did there. I see what you did. I see Father Christopher Miller, hail Father, who retracted a message to repost it and said, hail Skinhead Odin. Or should I say, Jawo, Lord Odin. I don't know. That first one doesn't make me feel very good, though, so please don't call me that. HyperX13 tagged and says, plot twist unhinged as a long-anticipated sequel to Keanu Reeves' Speed like Split was too unbreakable. # Road Cinematic Universe. Wouldn't that be interesting, to say the least? Dean Heiss over there, who's a member on YouTube, then also put the pineapple and pizza. You're disgusting. I hate you. Let's see. CWD Trixie's in the chat. Robert Frey's in the chat. Just Joe 47's in the chat as well. Hope you're all doing well. JKD Buck tagged me and said, please lift up my son and the Mrs. JKD Buck 76 and me. We've had some problems at the school. Thank you. Please lift up my son. If you mean to pray, I absolutely will. I absolutely will keep y'all in my prayers. I'm sorry to hear that y'all are having issues at school. I know that there's a lot of schools across the country that are either just not doing this very well. They're just failing. There's local schools here near me that are having to go online because they weren't doing what they should have, and they had an outbreak of cases at their school. So that's not to say that it can't happen, right? Because obviously anything can happen. If, all it takes is one student or one family to hang out with someone and be positive and not do their due diligence, and then boom, there can be an outbreak, right? Even though we're doing a lot like cleaning the desks, which we theoretically really don't have to do, because if you look to how this specific virus and this strand lives on surfaces, it just is something where it's not for very long, but we do it as a precautionary measure, and also something we should do anyway, because think about the bacteria and other viruses that can survive longer on surfaces that we're also getting rid of as well. And of course, the mask policy too. Again, is it a pain? Absolutely. But it's all about, again, trying to keep us in the actual physical building, because as we all know, and I think a lot of us learned from our time in quarantine last semester, and especially fourth quarter, students just do much better in a classroom environment. When you're online and you're having to watch your lectures, and you have to watch and keep up with homework, everything is just so distracting. I mean, you're on a computer, which you normally would use for games and YouTube and all this other stuff. So it just makes sense that you would have some students that would fall through the cracks and some that would struggle with trying to adapt to that. And so being in the classroom is very important, which is why for me, it's something where I'm just, when it comes to that, right, when it comes to the job, I'm not going to fight that, because again, it's all about trying to keep us there. Steve Carter, what's going on? I see that name in the chat. Hopefully you are doing very, very well. Stephanie B says, I'm a werewolf. Thank you again for being here, Stephanie B. I appreciate that. Just being honest. Griffin Turbo. HyperNext13 tagged me and says, but Odin, that CGI third act was a masterpiece in Black Panther, a CGI classic. I see what you try to do. And no. Some of the worst CGI we've seen in any Marvel film. Tim Elf, what's going on, good sir? Hopefully you are doing well. As 70B rightfully says, nope, New Mutants is Old Mutants. New Mutants equals old mutants, and that is a fact at this point. Andrew Hoyle, who's a member, says, I have a feeling George R. R. Martin will release his books before the New Mutants is out at the cinema. Hey, well, he better hurry up, man, because there's tickets again on sale for next Friday. So it might happen. The world might actually end because New Mutants might actually finally come out in a cinema, something that I didn't think was going to happen. So that'd be that'd be amazing. Jacob Volk, what's going on, good sir? Hopefully you are doing very well. Chris P tagged me and says, Hail Odin, New Mutants tickets are on sale at my local cinema chain for next week. I'll see it just cause why not? Yeah, Chris P, same thing here. It's on sale at my local Regal. It's supposed to also be on sale for the local AMC, but because tickets in the theater near me for AMCs don't open this week, but next week, those tickets aren't available. So normally what happens, for anyone that's unaware, every Tuesday, the bookers normally will send the information to the theaters. The theater managers then have to then create the schedule based off of what studios booked what time slots. And that's eventually when the schedule gets put together. And that's why normally end of business on a Tuesday, 4 p.m., 5 p.m. is when, for AMC at the very least, those schedules get put out. So once Tuesday comes around, we should, or at least for me, I should see from my local AMC that we have tickets on sale for that. And Lord knows what else. Hopefully also we might even get, Bill and Ted 3. That'd be really cool to see, because I've heard good things from people that are fans of the franchise. Soul Assassin tagged me and says, so how about that god-awful idea for planes, trains, and automobiles? Oh, man, I made my thoughts on that clear on Twitter. For those not aware, there's a plan right now for Will Smith and Kevin Hart to be starring in a remake of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Now, I got to say first off, I'm actually not a big fan of the original. And it's not that it's a bad movie. I just don't find it that funny. Now, it could have been I saw it and I was in a mood and just didn't click. Maybe I saw it alone and it's something that you should see with friends. I don't know. It just didn't click for me. But regardless of whether I like the movie or not, I can tell you many people consider that film a classic, right? I think that I could, even though I don't like it personally, I can objectively say that by many's account, it's a classic film. And even if it wasn't a classic film, I'm just so tired of Hollywood taking these ideas that have already been played out, that have already been done, and many would argue that this was done extremely well, and just try and remake it and say, oh, we're just going to race swap the characters, and boom, that's our brilliant idea. No, make a new movie. To be honest, I think having a movie with Will Smith and Kevin Hart could be awesome. You could have a hilarious tandem there. You could have a hilarious comedy duo there, but in their own original movie. In fact, even let Kevin Hart write. I mean, seriously, come up with your own idea, let Kevin Hart do some of the writing, and I think it could be funny. I think it could be great. I think both of those two characters together, those actors together, could be magic, but not in something that no one's asking for. No one wants a reboot or remake of that movie. Let's see, Bashy Washy tagged me at 718, says, doing well, bud. Love the shave, trying to sleep at the moment. Well, Bashy Washy, go get some sleep, man. Go get some sleep. And thank you very much. I appreciate it. Stephanie B says, please holla at Odin like this. Yes, please. Yes, Stephanie B. Again, Odin question. It's right here on the screen. Odin question. All one word. All lowercase. All uppercase. Either way it works. As long as those letters are in that order on YouTube, it'll highlight orange for me. Let's see. Father Christopher Manila, hail to you, Father, tagged me, or sorry, he's a member rather, and he says this: now that dinner is over, I'm back. Going to watch the DNC convention tonight, the 68 convention, that is, violence and all. Oh, Lord. Yeah, why would you do that to yourself, Father? See, you don't even get that because it's all live streamed. And the first, I was seeing, I was like, okay, maybe I'll watch the very beginning of it. So I was watching a video last night. Also, of course, to show my dislike of it overall. Dear Lord, the ratio for their channel is terrible. But it's amazing because for 8 minutes, they had an echo. For 8 minutes, something that they've realistically probably been planning for a long time, something that they should have someone keeping tabs on, for 8 minutes was having an echo. Now, it's one thing for me to have an echo, right? I'm a one-man team. I fall behind the chat, right? That makes sense. But when you're a part of this political machine and everyone knows that Hollywood is essentially the DNC's +1 to every party, it just makes no sense that you wouldn't have someone keeping track of that. So that just shows complete and utter incompetence. And yeah, for 8 minutes they had an echo. It's ridiculous. So Father, how you could watch that, I don't know. Blake St. Clair, what's going on? Glad to see you in the chat. Let's see, Super Anime Gamer, hey, what's going on, man? He says, hey, what is up, my dude? And he tagged me at 719, says, sorry I'm late. Good to hear theaters are opening back up, but sadly, I live in one of those crummy blue states, so I can't go. No. Well, hopefully maybe in a couple weeks, maybe a month, maybe your local theaters will start to open up. I hope. I know that Jeremy Johns is kind of screwed because he mentioned that he lives in Washington State. By the way, Jeremy Johns, get the hell out of Washington, man. Again, the wilderness might be beautiful up there. There might be some beautiful things that you can look at, but it's a crap show, man. Get out of there. Go see some movies. Let's see. Hardwick, what's going on? Apollo Patriot tagged me at 719. Hail Greek mythology. And I love my blue Twillick women on Geeks and Gamers website. I have over 350 something memes. They are hilarious. I've made. Nice, Apollo Patriot. Christopher Mills tagged me and says, so what did I miss? I was trying to lose an attitude. What, Christopher Mills? Is that supposed to make sense to me? Because it doesn't. Doesn't make sense to me. Alrighty, so the chat has jumped on me once again. Let me just make sure that everything is looking well. See, Jacob Volk says I'm looking buff. Well, thank you. I'm sure it's the bald head. It's because it's not the muscle mass. I can say that much. That I do know is not the case. There's a lot of things I don't know. That's one thing I do know. All right, let me jump back over to my D-Live fam. How's it going, D-Live fam? So I think all the trolls have been taken care of. Daniel Thorne tagged me and says, what is the point of Dario Argento's Inferno, the sequel to Suspiria? I just seem like a bunch of killing for killing's sake. I've never seen the first one, so I couldn't say. Neither of those films make any sense to me. And then he says, masks or not, there will be spikes in schools, and then the cry will come for them to be shut down. It depends. It really depends, because there are schools that have already shut down, and there are other schools that aren't. And I think it's because some schools are doing some things better than others. I think that's what it comes down to. And what's interesting is that there's some schools that are not giving kids the option to be at home. And maybe it's because they can't, because of, logistics. But we as a school, we're not even a one-to-one school, and yet we are able to still make this work. And yeah, most of our students are back, but the fact that we can still have any students who, if they fit certain criteria, want to stay because of family and they don't want to risk, family exposure or anything like that, or they're immunocompromised, right? It's amazing that other schools aren't at least giving them the option. Because I think that is going to end up hurting schools more than anything else. Because if someone is a student and is immunocompromised and it's the only school that they can go to, maybe it's the only school in their area, maybe it's just the one thing that just suits their needs, and they're forced to go back in person and they catch something and they, God forbid, die or get really, really ill, that's a lawsuit, and that's going to cost, I think, schools more than anything else, to be honest. All right. Phonemo tagged and says over on DLive, I hope Mulan crashes on Disney Plus while New Mutants makes bank. I don't think New Mutants is going to make bank because the box office is just not going to be back. I mean, again, you're dealing with theaters now that are going to be working at very limited capacities in a very limited number because not all states are going to have the ability to open up their theaters. And so I think that regardless of what happens, New Mutants is not going to be a huge box office success. It might be good for COVID numbers, but it's not going to be, something amazing. And then as far as Disney Plus goes, we're never really going to know, I think, honestly, what the revenue is, because Disney Plus can tell us whatever the hell is that they want to. They can spin the number, whatever. I don't think they're going to give us a number like they're going to say the movie made $500 million this weekend, right? I don't think they're going to give us that kind of number. I think that they're going to give some spin. They're going to use some random statistic. Maybe it's like they'll use percentages or something. And so they'll try and make it seem like things are going extremely well, when in reality, if you actually use the actual numbers, it's not. And the problem is that we will never be able to know unless and until they release their financials, which then at that point you would have to probably dive pretty deep just to find those numbers, because at that point it would just all be a part of Disney Plus, right? I doubt that you would find Mulan revenue, So this is also another way in which studios can kind of hide any failures that they might have. So yeah, whether or not Mulan is a failure or not, I think is going to be impossible to predict because they're going to hide some of these numbers behind their paywall. That's what I think. Let's see here. Peabody then says, next, Will Smith will be doing Uncle Buck. Good luck with that one. Yeah, please don't. Please don't do that. Steve Carter, though, 3 minutes ago on YouTube did send a super chat, so I want to make sure I give that attention. Says, just a little bit to help out my friend, Hail Odin. Well, Steve Carter, thank you very much, man. Thank you. I really do appreciate the super chat, appreciate the sentiment, the love. Again, thank you, man. Let's see. Alexander, I have no idea who timed you at first. It's not my prerogative to say one way or the other. All I can say, though, is that once you're back, just don't talk about it. Just be cool and chill. And you shouldn't get, if you get timed out for no reason whatsoever, then obviously, you can be upset. But at this point, though, I would say let it go. Daniel Thorne, which is the best movie? Forrest Gump, True Lies, The Fugitive, or A Few Good Men? Ooh, well, there's a lot of films in there that I have not seen. I know. I haven't seen True Lies, haven't seen The Fugitive. Actually, yes, haven't even seen A Few Good Men. I know of those movies. I'm aware of them. I've seen clips of them. But the only film on that list I've actually seen from beginning to end, and also multiple times, would be Forrest Gump. So I'll have to go with Forrest Gump. And now you can hate me. All right, anyway, Peabody says, we need to raise money to buy you a buffer to polish your head. Yeah, I don't understand. I've never looked into polishing. I want to find a way that's going to be the easiest to maintain this, right? You can't it can't just be, oh, you have to shave it every time. There has to be an easier way that's better for the scalp. Is that polishing? Is that how that goes? I honestly don't know. By the way, we do have 77 people watching on YouTube, so if you're on YouTube, please smash that like button. Really would appreciate it. But still on DLive, Captain Mr. Roy, thank you for dropping the diamond donation, good sir. Thank you very much. Captain Mr. Roy, always so very generous with that. Thank you. Let's see. Phonemo says, I just want Mulan to crash and burn, really. Hey, Phonemo, I'm right there with you, man. I would love for it. If this was a normal year, if the box office was still completely normal, I would love for that movie and, to come out, have cost what? Between $500 and $700 million when you add in marketing. And we honestly don't know those numbers for marketing. It's usually just a guess. But I want to say the production budget was what? $250 to $300 million. So half of that added on to it is normally the figure that a studio will spend on a movie's marketing. So that would make it around $450 to, again, a little over $600 million depending. And so you look to that and you think to yourself, okay, it would have to therefore make, close to $1 billion to break even. And if the film legitimately at the box office didn't make $1 billion, boom, that would make me happy. I would love to see the film have negative numbers. The problem is that because we're in the age of COVID and because the box office is not going to recover and not going to be the same potentially ever, at the very least for another couple years, I would argue, it's impossible. At this point, it's going to be impossible to tell one way or the other if the film is a success or a failure because Disney now can spin any numbers they want behind their paywall. Alexander Tagden says, what do you think of medieval YouTubers criticizing Hollywood fight scenes because they aren't realistic or historical? Hey, man, if that's something that interests them, hey, I think that's cool. For me, I do always appreciate it when there are films that will present things more historically accurate. And that's not just fighting, that's, story and history as well. But if I enjoy it, if it's an enjoyable story, if the action is entertaining, I don't really focus on that nearly as much. Peabody says, there is a special razor you can buy to shave the head. Interesting. It's electric. Don't know what it's called. It's round. Okay, interesting. Daniel Thorne says, if a student was first in the class and pulled down their mask, would you tattle on them? Well, it's really not about that, right? Because it's one of those things where we know that students are going to get annoyed by it. But the fact that we have pretty much, I would argue, 99.9% participation in this, and that really the worst thing that happens is that the mask dips below their nose for maybe a few seconds, and all we need to do is basically just say, hey, lift up the mask. It's never an issue. It really hasn't been a problem yet. And that's kind of been fascinating, and that's why I really love my school, and I love our community because, even though I know that they aren't fans, because no one wants to wear a mask all day, right? The fact that they are willing to buy in and to, put up with it because they want to try and make sure that we can stay. Because regardless of your own thoughts about it, if there's an outbreak, we're not going to be able to stay. And so the fact that they're willing to do this to try and stop or limit any outbreak whatsoever is just amazing. So it hasn't been an issue, Daniel Thorne, to be honest. It really hasn't. The only time that it would ever be a discipline issue would be if we asked a student to do something and they didn't do it, right? So if we asked a student in class, to fix their mask and then they said no, well, at that point, it's not the mask that's the issue. It's the insubordination. Because that's just hands down. It doesn't matter what it is. Like if we're asking them to do something reasonable that's within the rules and laws of the school and they say no to us, again, that's disrespectful and that's insubordination. But that hasn't happened. That's not to say that it won't happen, but at this point, again, everyone so far has been great. Daniel Thorne that says, Happy Taco Tuesday. Well, hopefully you had some tacos. All right. Caught up on D-Lab and check back over on YouTube. So it's 7:21 in the YouTube chat. It's 7:44 in real life. So again, a little over 20 minutes behind. Saja Neons tagged me and says, well, Josiah got excommunicado and look at his sub count. Coincidence? I see thee nigh. I say thee nay. I say thee nay. Nay like a horse. I would say nay, nay. I would say nay, nay to you. That's what I would say. Yeah, Josiah has been on fire recently. He's been on fire. Then I will say this much, though. His channel definitely leaves, I think, more room for that kind of growth because he doesn't limit himself to just movies, to TV, or to pop culture. He's basically become everything. Like he's become just a culture channel. And there's a very strong desire for that kind of content, right? And especially with Josiah's really great takes and comedy, I think it's done very well. So he's been doing awesome, man. Again, a huge fan of Josiah. And I'm so happy that his channel is good. I mean, dude, that dude's going to hit 100,000 well before the year's over. Like I would say within a month or two, he'll probably hit 100,000, which is awesome. Awesome. Serbian Terminator, what's going on? Tag me at 721, says, good afternoon, Odin. Hope you are okay from quarantine, and how has your day been so far? Well, Serbian Terminator, everything's been going as well as it can be. Tired. Voice is a little tired as well, but we get a day off tomorrow, so that is going to be very, very nice. Hardwick says, I don't know how Kenneth Branagh could make a movie as bad as Artemis Fowl until proven otherwise. I choose to believe it might have been studio interference. Well, I mean, his name is attached to it. We have not heard anything from him that would argue otherwise. I think that it's both, to be honest. I honestly think that the studio may have interfered, but Kenneth Branagh allowed it to happen or welcomed it. So I think Kenneth Branagh is going to have responsibility, unless he were to come out and say, which he hasn't, though. And normally you hear about this well before the movie's out. You hear about drama on set and production issues. I haven't really heard that from Kenneth Branagh, at least not that I'm aware of. So it's probably, I would say, is both their fault. Super says, on second thought, I don't think I'd be brave enough to go anyway. Still sucks for the businesses, though. Yeah, I mean, yeah. And that's the thing that I think a lot of these businesses are going to realize is that you're going to have a group that's going to be very excited to come back, but you're also going to have a large portion that aren't. I mean, I look as a great example to the churches. You are allowed to go back to churches now, and they have to do these various social distancing measures, and obviously the bishops across the country have said that you are dispensed from the obligation of having to go. But even then, you have a lot of people that aren't coming. Something that I've noticed. So even in something as important as Mass, right, as important as the sacraments to the life of a Catholic at the very least, if even they, and that's a matter of faith, are nervous and scared about going to Mass, how much more will it be for people just going to a movie? That's why I really do think that, it's not about the 30% capacity. It's how much of that 30% are they even going to be able to fill, to be perfectly honest. Different markets are going to have different results. Some are going to do well, some aren't. But the ones that don't do well, that could be the death note for them. HyperX13 tagged and says, Artemis Fowl is so bad it can't even reach bottom-rated movies top-rated list on IMDb. Yeah, that's how bad it is. Alex is now going to try to defend himself. You can't. He says, I'd have to watch it a couple more times to decide if I hate Artemis Fowl. Wasn't paying close enough attention. Dang ADHD. No, Alex McCarthy. All right, just like with my students, that excuse doesn't work with me because I also have ADD. All right, and I was able to get it. I was able to watch it, and it was terrible. All right, don't blame it. Don't use that as an excuse. All right, I had friends that tried to do it, and I was like, you're giving people like us a bad name. There is a sense we do have control. It is harder, but we do have control. Andrew Hoyle, as a member, says, I've not watched Artemis Fowl as my wife liked the books and banned me from watching it after reading the bad reviews. Yes, Andrew Hoyle, don't watch it. I would say read the books first, out of respect indeed for the wife. And then I would say y'all could probably watch it together and just, cringe at how bad it is. But yeah, basically don't let the movie be the first thing you watch, because almost every comment on my review of the movie was, you should have read the books first, or read the books instead, because they made no excuses for the movies. They're like, the movie's terrible and it does a terrible job adapting the story. And so they were very upset by that. But yeah, I would agree. That's a good move. Waiting for Nerdrotic. What's going on, Laura? How is it going, Laura? How's it going? Blake St. Clair tagged me at 725, says, we are just leaving winter and flu season here in Southern Hemisphere. Do you think that's going to impact the theaters and everything reopening effectively in your end of the world? It really depends, man, because you're leaving it, but I think we're about to enter into it, right? Because winter is coming, right? It's on the way for us. So I think that is going to have an impact. I mean, now is the time when within the next month or two, the flu shots are going to be very big. And I think was it last year or 2 years ago, they messed up. Like they tried to guess the strands, because I actually had no idea that's what happened. But essentially what they determined the flu shots to be, whatever strands are in the shot, are based on patterns that are followed. And usually they do pretty well. Normally, like I think it was 90% plus of people that get the flu shot, like are able to have the antibodies and immunities build up to fight it. But I want to say it was last year, a couple of years ago, it was like only 40 to 50%, like a huge drop. Like basically they guessed very wrong on it. And so God forbid if that were to happen with everything going on, oh my goodness. Yeah, that's something I would be concerned about. Just like with allergy season in the spring, because even though obviously allergies are one thing, because then you have a lot more fluids coming out of the body, it's something where things can spread much more easily. So, Apollo Patriot, are you getting the G.I. Joe game? Looks cool. Probably not. It was never my jam. I'm not knocking it. Just was never really my jam. My older brother was more so into it. Syrian Terminator tagged me at 726. Do you think the movie Tenet will get the same praise and positivity as the Batman trilogy, since both are from Christopher Nolan? It depends, man. I think the Nolan trilogy for Batman was able to bring in various audiences. Well, here's the other thing too, right? Batman Begins is amazing. Dark Knight is amazing. Dark Knight Rises just isn't. And I know there's some people that defend it, but if you can in all honesty say that movie holds up against Batman Begins and Dark Knight, I'm sorry, man, but you're not paying attention. Again, if you enjoy it yourself, okay, that's fine. But if objectively you're going to say it's as good or close to what we got from Batman Begins and Dark Knight, nah. But Tenet will get whatever praise it's due. If it's a good movie and if it does it well, it'll get praise. If it's not good and doesn't do it well, or it's too confusing or it's contradictory, then maybe not. It really depends. We'll have to wait for the movie to come out to know. Jake D says, Hail Odin. Gigamus Prime tag me at 728. Odin, you have been around actors before. What should I remember if I end up dating an actress? Are you generally normal or over dramatic? Dear Lord, man. Harwick, have you ever heard of Jerry Lewis, Madeline Kahn movie Slapstick of Another Kind? It's even worse and weirder than The Room. Nope, I have not. Apollo Patriot tagged and says, I want a Star Wars open world game set in the Empire era. I would have a blue Twi'lek engineer as my follower. Hopefully we get this game in some year. Who knows? You have a thing for Twi'leks, don't you? You have a thing for Twi'leks. Kara Tharp in the chat. Gigamus Prime, I heard Jon Favreau and George Lucas have come up with a new concept for filming The Mandalorian that can deal with the beard bug situation. Wouldn't surprise me at all. And again, I would not be surprised if we see a lot of the studios going back to work to get their shows and everything back on track. 86 people watching now. Please smash that like button. Thank you. Thank you. Taburn is in the chat. Andrew Hoyle, who's a member on the channel at 7:32 p.m., said, let me guess, Kevin Hart screams a lot and has jokes about his height. You know what, man? Trust me, that's a valid criticism, but it makes me laugh. There's some things that are so simple, and if they're done just right, they can change the world. And it's very funny. Serbian Terminator. Weird Al theaters are not open yet, but Universal Orlando and Disney World are. That is, yeah, it definitely is odd. However, it's not nearly as odd when you realize where they're located, right? Florida has been a lot more proactive in allowing things to reopen more quickly. So that actually makes a lot more sense than you would think. Because remember, too, AMC, Regal, Cinemark, the major chains, they by choice have not opened in states where they could have opened. And I've said this before, right? So I'm in the Tennessee area. There's a regional chain called UEC. They've been open for months. So they've been allowed to open for at least 2-3 months. AMC's could have done the same thing here. Regal could have done the same thing here. But the major chains decided to wait until movies were coming back, which makes sense because they own a lot of theaters and they need to make a certain number of revenue to be profitable. But they are the ones that decided to hold off, right? So theaters have been allowed to reopen for a long time, Serbian, to be honest. So just to correct you there, because Florida and other states have had theaters open for a long time, just not the major chains. Gigamus Prime, would actress Emma Lahana from Cloak and Dagger make a good Princess Leia if Lucasfilm and Disney decides to do a Star Wars series set a few years after Episode 6? Don't know her, but please just let them not do that. That'd be good. CW Trixie, at least it's good to see that Gary is leaving California. It really is, man. So he finally escaped San Francisco, and he's now started the process of getting out of the state completely. So I still wish him luck on that for sure, because Lord knows that he's probably dealing with a lot of stuff, man. I couldn't even imagine what it would be like to live there as long as he has, because I lived there for 9 months. I lived in LA for 9 months doing an internship, and just this small efficiency apartment, like barely anything, was close to $900 a month. It was stupid. It was stupid expensive. So yeah, I couldn't live there for as long as he ended up. All right, let me jump back over to my D-Live fan. Fat Elvis is over there. What's going on, Fat Elvis? Daniel Thorne tagged me and says, Freud versus Jung, who is more fun? I don't know as much about Jung, but I guess I'll go with Freud. That's a weird question. Oh, Lord. All right. Well, I'm caught up there. I'm caught up on D-Live. Sometimes it's easy to catch up over there. 735, Christopher Mills corrects it to attitude. I was trying to lose one. Okay, gotcha. It's always good to try and lose attitude for sure. Howard X13 says, swole Odin. Get out of here. Eric K says, hail Eric K, who's a member on the channel. Paula Patriot tagged me at 737 and said, Odin, you really look like a bodybuilder. No, I don't. Don't you lie. It's the bald head, man. It makes you see things. All right, it confuses the people. Slicer Neons tagged me at 739. You know anything about the one and only Ivan Disney movie I thought was animated? It is not, based on a book. Coming to Disney Plus soon. I think I saw a promo for it, but I don't remember it. Paul, thank you very much for the $10 donation. I believe this is someone's evil twin. Says, my mistake, shouldn't come out of your pocket. It was supposed to be a gift, and I made it a hassle. No, Paul, I told you not to, man. Seriously, if it ever happens like that, it really is not a big deal, man. So thank you. You always give way too much. Shipping locally here is not as pricey as it is to send something overseas. So... But thank you anyway. I do appreciate the support, man, and I really do, man. So you are indeed the evil twin, and I appreciate it. Let's see. Eric K is a member and tagged me and says, hail to you, fine sir. Love the fresh shave. Well, thank you. Eric K, I appreciate it. Someone said Nair. Yeah, I'd rather not use chemicals. I don't want permanent damage. Laura says, it's 103 degrees here. That is all. Ooh, that is miserable. Oh, Laura, that's miserable. Yeah, it cooled off here. I think it was around 67 or 68 this morning. So it actually kind of felt okay outside. But then, of course, it gets up to around 89. It's supposed to rain, I think, starting tonight or going into tomorrow. And it's supposed to rain for a few days and just keep things a little bit cooler. But I can't wait for that fall weather to come in. I'm glad that I have seasons here. Eric K tagged me, and he's also a member. And at 7:44, he says, I disagree. Bane wants to wear a mask all day. I'm not going to lie. Once I shave my head, I'm like, I really should get a Bane mask just to have, because I could totally pull it off a lot more with a shaved head. Hologram Nunchuck, what's going on, man? Says, hail all, and tagged me. Thank you. Golden Ration 74 says, got my pizza, no pineapple, yes pepperoni. Boom, Golden Ration. That is the way that you do it, man. That is the way. I like it. Pizza with pepperoni. No pineapple. Pineapple's disgusting. Slash of Neons tagged me at 746. I seeth he nigh. Stop with your fancy speak. General Wingster, what's going on, General Wingster? My pet troll. Smatter Effect, great name. Tag me at 746. There has already been teachers in my nephew's middle school praising antics in Zoom meetings. That teacher's in trouble on only the second day of school. Antics? What do you mean? Like people telling them like to not wear masks or to cause chaos? Yeah, if that's what you're talking about, that's not good. That is not good at all. Yeah. We should not be promoting children to to cause issues like that, right? You know, we should be teaching students, especially at that age in the middle school, high school levels, about respect. And that's not being very respectful. 70B Time at 747 says, remember when you said John talks Star Wars to drop Star Wars? And he did. Yes, he did. John talks Star Wars. He dropped it. And sure enough, man, he started talking about a wide plethora of other topics and, again, was able to produce a lot of growth. Mikey Martinez at 748 tagged me and says, I watched an hour of Artemis Fowl, turned it off 30 minutes before it ended. So bad. Worst film of the year so far. That is a fact, Mikey Martinez. It's terrible. It really is. It's one of the worst films I've ever seen. Mikey Martinez then says, I start school next week. Honestly, I think it's the best thing. It's the best that they go all virtual for the first semester. That's just me, though. Yeah, and trust me, I think there's an argument to be made there. The problem, though, with it is that some schools can't, because some schools aren't one-to-one. Some families can't afford to, have the level of internet to maintain that speed. You might not think it's a whole lot, but when you think about it from a family perspective, some just can't afford to have, the ability to support streaming and the ability to support, several kids streaming so much data every month, right? So some wouldn't be able to do that or handle it. But as far as practicality, yeah, if a school can afford to do that, then I think that is a good idea, right? But I think that for being a school that we realize, especially high school, works better when it's in person with the kids, just from my own experience. And if you're doing it right and you take all the precautions you can, it can work. He didn't tag me, but I do see the message, so I do want to point it out. Lance Alato, I see at 750. He says, please a prayer for my family that lost a life. It would mean a lot to me. Absolutely, Lance Alato, man. I'll definitely keep you and your family in my prayers. I'm very sorry to hear about your loss. I wish there was more I could say. I wish there was more I could do, but prayer is something that I can offer. Eric K, yeah, I was able to see it because that was the first time that I saw his name pop up. And as soon as I see prayer, like that's one of the few times where I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to tell someone to re-tag me on something like that. So definitely we'll be praying for you, family, Lance Alato. Let's see. Slash of Neon's tagging me at 71 and says, I found Monty Python in German on Netflix. What is this? In German? Wait, like you were looking for it and it was just in German, or you have options and one of the languages is German? That's odd. Hybrid Extra Teen tagged me at 752. Not enough silent characters representation. All these SJW morons are towards Snake Eyes context for G.I. Joe. Yes, I get you. I get exactly what you mean. Mike Martinez, Tenet looks incredible. It seems like this will be Nolan's best movie since Inception. Yeah, I mean, some might say that, but I would argue that Inception over time hasn't aged well. I'm going to be honest. Just don't hate me. I think that Inception has a lot of great things, a lot of great qualities, great acting, great direction. The story, though, I think they made it so complex and I think, honestly, full of various holes that were not meant to be holes. That was meant to keep things more ambiguous. But the problem when you leave things ambiguous sometimes is that it leaves just this giant hole where you don't know exactly what it was supposed to be. And I think that has kind of tainted the image of that movie over time, at least for the writing over it. Let's see. General Wingster tagged me at 752. Odin, Dark Knight Rises is bad. Me and Bane voice, try take control of your city. Yeah, it's just, I would say it's bad, but at the very least, I think we should be able to say it does not even hold a candle to those other two. Christopher Mills tagged me at 753, says, Twi'leks are hot. They're fictional, so I wouldn't say. Lancelotto, gotcha, yeah, so I got you, man. Yeah, you didn't have to worry about tagging. Oh, Lord, Drunk 3PO. Drunk 3PO is in the chat. Dear Lord, Drunk 3PO, putting 3 messages in a row, spamming my chat freaking drunk, man. He says, no, the theaters are open here. I know. That's why I said that, drunk. And then says they have been open showing classic movies. Yes, this is also something I know. And then I even have a video about it on my channel. Oh, there it is. Promoting himself. Drunk 3PO coming onto my channel, coming into my chat, all to promote himself. That's all he does, man. That's all he does. It's all about self-promote. That's why we don't welcome him back. That's why we don't welcome him back on Friday Night Tights. You know, everyone asks for it, but we're like, no. Because all he's going to do is be like, well, you know, Park Hop, and well, you know, my channel. That's all that it is. But much love the drunk 3PO, man. Thank you for... So it just jumped to the live chat. So I got to see Drunk's reaction live. And he's like, so to my channel. There it is. I called it and it happened. Right there. He's like, sub to my channel. Oh, man. But seriously, every other word out of his mouth. Park hopping. My channel. But I love Drunk. Drunk's a good guy. All right. Now I do need to go back and make sure that no comments have been skipped. Let's see. It's 7:55 now in the chat. It's 8:05. So now I'm only 10 minutes behind. Boom, baby. And we still got 82 people watching. So thank you for being here. Smash that like button. And let me go ahead and try and see if I can catch up over on D-Live. Let's see. Captain Dean Heiss tagging me over there and says, what's this I see in your title about Fatima movie thoughts? Thank you for asking, Captain Dean Heiss. I didn't know if I was going to be able to get to it. But yeah, so the first topic, and movie theaters indeed are reopening. Again, Regal Cinemas are opening near me this week. My AMCs are opening up next week, but 100 AMCs across the country are opening up this week, and that's where you get that sweet 15-cent movie deal for some various films to celebrate the 100th anniversary of AMC. Also, of course, because of the whole 1920s theme, but let's be honest, because they want to get butts back in seats to the best of their ability. But what is interesting to me is that there is actually a new movie set to come out very soon. And I noticed it because it was actually an article posted on Deadline. And the headline is what got my attention. Because as you all know, I'm a Catholic guy. I teach at a Catholic, I teach Catholicism, right? I teach religion. And so the title got my attention. It says, will Fatima bring religion back to the movie mainstream? And I was like, wait a minute. Someone at Deadline is writing about the movie Fatima? That's a very Catholic story. It's a very Catholic concept. For anyone not aware, Fatima deals with the story of 3 kids who had an apparition of Mary. So Mary, the mother of God, right? Mary, mother of Christ, appeared to these 3 kids. And so it is a very famous apparition. Many people have devotions to Our Lady of Fatima. 2 of the children have since been canonized as saints. The other one is well on their way to being named a saint as well. And so it's an incredible story. And also, too, connected to Fatima, there were various miracles and events that happened that no one could explain. For example, something connected with Fatima, I don't know exactly when it happened within its history, but there's a story where essentially the sun danced in the sky, and there were thousands of people present, and no one could explain it. I think this is even something Gary has covered, because obviously Gary and Doomcock are both fans of conspiracies, and that's one, though, where it's very hard to explain how, because even the whole concept of, oh, well, they were all drugged doesn't work, because if you have those many people, they're not all going to see the same thing. And so Fatima, though, is going to be dealing more so with the kids and their visions and how they were treated, because obviously they were being, grilled by not just their local population, but also the church too, because the church is oh, these kids are saying they're seeing something. And yeah, it's some of the stories you hear about, how they kind of, they separated them and they were like quizzing them, and they were kind of rude, right? Because they were treating them like kids and saying, you're not, you're just a kid. What would you know? And it's amazing. So that's why I'm very excited to see that, one, it's getting a release, that they're actually doing a movie about it. So this is, again, something where, 1917, so that actually tells you right here. It says, the film, which has been shown in pop-up previews for the last few weeks, is about the heavenly visions of 3 young children who in 1917 said they encountered the Blessed Virgin Mary in a field near Fatima, Portugal. Believers flocked to the site. There may have been miracles, it says. And Mary said the children confided 3 secrets, which became the core of an enduring Catholic cult that eventually found of the 2 young people, Francisco and Jacinta Marto canonized as saints following their deaths in the 1918 flu pandemic. So these two actually died not long after the visions and were children when they died. And they maintained everything, right? So again, the flu pandemic in 1918 is what took their life. However, another family member of theirs, Lucia, ended up becoming a nun and ended up living until 2005. So that's why she hasn't been canonized yet, also because she held on to the supposed third secret of Fatima, and there was some controversy around it because there's apparently an official version from the Vatican and another version from the sister. And they're competing visions. And so there's that's when you get into kind of the Catholic conspiracy underground, which can get kind of fun, but it's pretty exciting. And so the fact that Deadline was talking about it and saying, could this be a movie that makes a lot of money, right? Like other faith-based movies makes a lot of money. Harvey Keitel is in the movie. That's the biggest name that I saw. It's the biggest name I saw attached to the movie. So does that mean it's going to be good? I don't know. I sure hope so, though, because it's very rare that we get Catholic stories. We have a lot of Christian movies that come out, but normally it's more from a Protestant lens. So the fact that there's a story that's extremely Catholic in a lot of different ways is pretty exciting. So yeah, anyway, so that's my thought on that, and that's why it was in the title, because actually it was brought up at school, and then all of a sudden I saw this article, and I'm like, well, that's kind of fun that we talked about it today, and then sure enough, I was reminded that this movie was coming out. So I hope that movie comes to my local theater. Fat Elvis tagged me over on DLive, says, so glad I've been able to catch a live stream. How is the movie archive coming? Fat Elvis, thank you for asking, man. It's kind of slowed down because obviously with school, things have kind of, all my focus have shifted. I haven't been able to make videos really the last 2 weeks for the channel. I mean, if you look at my channel, it's all live streams basically. And that's just by choice also. It's not just because I feel so tired at the end of the day, but also I don't want to burn myself out either. So it's also by choice that I'm doing that. And I think it works for the best overall, just for me. And so when it comes to the archive though, it's come to a point where I've reached the stalling point because I have 48 ideas and I've already gotten the ones that made the most sense. And so there's things there's things I would love to get. For example, I still need the rest of the series for In the Heat of the Night, but they are asking for so much freaking money. It's unreasonable. Like it's because it's an out of print DVD. So I have season 1, but to get all the other seasons, you have to pay like $300 to $400. It's like, even if I have that, it's not worth spending that much just to get that show. Like I would rather find it one day used and find it in that fashion than to, for it to be anything else. So, but yeah, thank you for asking, man. Yeah, so it's kind of hit a little bit of a standstill. Peabody says, Odin can never have too much when it comes to a diaper fund. This is true. We are going to try to use reusables, though, for at home, right? If we're ever going out, we're going to bring disposables because you kind of have to. But for at home, to try and save some money, we're going to do the reusable ones. Captain the K-Man over on DLive, thank you for the 5 lemons, man. Appreciate you. Adam the Clan tagged me and says, the best 3PO is drunk 3PO. What can you really expect from a droid? This is true. This is very true. Adam then says, gotta have beef, gotta have spice, snap into a Slim Jim. Oh, yeah. There it is. At first I was like, what are you talking about? The K-Man, the Captain the K-Man says, will be interesting to see how the Fatima movie turns out. I knew the story because my grandmother went to a Fatima church. Nice. That's awesome. The K-Man. Yeah, it really is going to be interesting because it's something that a lot of people are very passionate about. There's an entire institute called the Fatima Center dedicated to Our Lady of Fatima. And yeah, so I hope it does well because it would be really cool to have more not just faith-based movies, but more Catholic stories, because there really aren't a whole lot of Catholic stories that are put into movies and put into especially the mainstream. Let's see. Mate, I think is the name I see on there. So thank you for being on DLive. Tag me and says, what do you archive? So basically what I've been doing as part of an archive project is I take older movies that are at risk of either going out of print or potentially being canceled by the cancel culture that we currently have today. So for example, I got the entire Dukes of Hazzard series because obviously people were going after it, and also I don't think they're producing new copies of it because the ones right now are reasonable for a whole series, like $80 for a whole series, even though it's a DVD. It's actually kind of reasonable. But I imagine that will probably end up going up because I don't think they're going to put it out on Blu-ray or, give a higher quality transfer or things like that. So I try and find movies and TV shows that are, again, at risk of either going out of print because the studio doesn't want to redo it because of, again, them trying to cancel or change things and erase their own history, or to go after things that are harder to find and back them up on a server, but not just back them up, make them as a DVD copy. So let's say there is a time when a studio refuses to sell a certain movie or a certain TV series, and literally there's no way for you to buy it from them, even though you might want to. At that point, then I have the access and the ability to make one if need be. That's not my plan. I don't want to do that, but it's nice to have that option. So again, I can only do so much as a individual person. So, all right. Let's see. Apollo Patriots over on YouTube. So switching back over to YouTube, it's 7:55 on YouTube. It's 8:15 here, so that's 20 minutes behind on YouTube. Apollo Patriot tagged me and said, listen to ancient Greek music. It's good stuff. Nice. Hardwick, how would you rank the movies of Jumanji, Zathura franchise? And do you consider Jumanji the next level good or bad or mediocre? Never seen Zathura. Jumanji, though. First one's great. First one's definitely a classic. CGI has not aged very well at all. CGI has not aged well for that movie at all. But Robin Williams is in it. It's a classic. It's a lot of fun. And I think that all the Jumanji films that have come out since have been good. I think that they've both been good. I think the first one is a better movie. However, I do love seeing the impersonations that are in the most recent one, which is the next level. So, yeah, I would say they're good. Gigamus Prime, when you lived in LA, were the women really attractive there, or like women anywhere else? That's an odd question that I'm not going to answer. General Wingster, just to clarify, Rises isn't a good film. I agree. Soul Assassin, needs some cash, dress as Kratos and do parties. Yeah, that could work. 13th Warrior, since you wear a mask at school, shouldn't you wear an eye patch online? Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Gigamus Prime, Odin, you should wear a Bane mask, then break Robert Pattinson's back and inspire him to train better to be Batman. Nope, not going to hurt anybody. Paula Patriot, I thought I might make an Odin Bane meme. Good idea. Boom, Paula Patriot, there you go. As a matter of fact, I see that you tried to tag there, missed one letter. The teachers were praising Antifa, stupid autocorrect. Which one? Oh, wait. Okay, as a matter of fact. Okay, sorry. Context was lost for a second. Now I remember. Oh, okay. So the teachers on a Zoom call with students were praising Antifa. That's stupid. That's terrible. And that's why the smart idea is that if you're ever, especially if you're in an official classroom setting that could be recorded, etc., yeah, you know what? You shouldn't probably speak your political ideas. That's why I'm kind of lucky, because I'm in this in-between space, and that's where I'm supposed to be as a Catholic too. So it's one of those things where if like any of them happens to catch something I say, it's not going to be that controversial, because I always try and take it from a Catholic perspective anyway, both in and out of school, because that's just kind of who I am. Harbeck, what are your thoughts on Night at the Museum movie series? I think that they get worse over time. However, I do think they're fun, they're fun brainless movies in the end, I think, as a whole series together. Slasher Neon says, on terms of pure cringe, Artemis Fowl might lose to the DNC. Yes. I think you might be right about that. All right. Absolutely no problem, Lancelotto. Slicer says, Monty Python's Fly Genders Circus. Look it up. It's real. Really, is it? Interesting. Interesting. Very, very interesting indeed. All right. Chad has jumped on me. Waiting for Nadrag Laura says, Florida man. Yep. That's exactly what drunk is. Blake St. Clair 804. Drunk will be asking you to play Broforce next. Dear Lord, what the hell is Bro? What is that? What is Broforce? What is that? Latino Slant is a member on the channel. What's going on, Latino Slant? Welcome back. 806. Odin, what's up, Peloni? Oh no. What's up, Pelon? Is that what you're trying to say? Is that what you're trying to say? What'd you call me? Andrew Hoyle, no one cared where I was until I put on the mask. Me, every time I go out to the shop. Yeah, dude, there's actually a store on my way home from work that has the Bane, has a really good Bane drawing in chalk, and then next to it has that quote. So it's actually very, it's kind of a fun way to say, hey, don't forget your masks. But still, no one cared who I was before I put on the mask. Yes. I don't know why I turned that into Sean Connery, but hey, it happened. Latino Slant says, I hope it's a good movie. And Latino Slant then says, in Mexico, it's Mary of Guadalupe. Well, that's a separate apparition. Yeah, so Our Lady of Guadalupe is another apparition of Our Lady. So anytime you ever hear, for anyone here's your Catholic lesson of the day. If you ever hear Our Lady of this, Our Lady of that, it is a separate apparition of Mary, Our Lady, to a saint, usually. Right now, there's one, I believe, that's active that has not been confirmed by the church. And actually, there's a lot of issues and problems with it, and it probably will never get confirmed by the church. It's something called Our Lady of Medjugorje. There's some people that are a little bit crazy with that. Theta PF. I see that name in the chat. It's a new name, so welcome. Let's see. Well, did we leave off? Let's see. Hybrid X13 Tag me says, tag me, if there's a drunk 3PO, is there an R2D drunk 2? That's a little too much, Hypern. I think you tried a little too hard on that one. Cupcake Geek says, what's up? Oh, and what's going on, Cupcake Geek? 13th Warrior, I take it you don't consider all the exorcism movies as Catholic movies. No. The first one, maybe. The first one is based off of an actual case, and some can argue that the other ones are too, but I feel like that's the one that took it more seriously. Like, the other ones just go so hammy and go so, I think, off script that it really is hard to really, want to see them in general, because that stuff in general freaks me out. Because if there's one thing that I'm terrified of, it would be that, because that's something that I do believe. Andrew Hoyle is a member, says, I recently watched 30 Rock, and even though Tina Fey is a lefty and Alec Baldwin suffers from severe TDS, there's no way that show could be made in the current climate with some of its content. Yeah, a lot of shows that were made not too long ago could definitely not be. Super Family, I think that's how you pronounce the name. It's a new name. What's going on? And by the way, just a quick aside, yes, I do have Song of the South. Someone actually sent me a DVD copy, not the actual DVD, but actually a digital copy of the DVD. And so I do have that. It has indeed been saved. Eric K says, backstory, I was surfing Amazon. Hopefully for something good. I hope. I really, really hope. All right, looks like I am indeed catching up in the chat, which is great because we're just about close to time. Manuel Montalvo III, that beer 10 out of 10. Manuel, thank you. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. Cobra Viber 999 tagged me and says, will you get Requiem for a Dream on 4K when it's released 13th October? It's a movie everyone should see once. I've never seen it before, so I probably won't buy it on 4K. I'd probably want to try and watch it first. I think it might be on a streaming service, maybe. But yeah, I've never seen it. Hardwick says, I recently watched Zathura. I thought it was good, although not as good as Jumanji. Shockingly, Kristen Stewart's character was the funniest part of the movie. Ooh, was that like a movie that was made when she was a kid or something? Because I don't believe it. Latino Slant says, Nuestra Senora. Either way, looking forward to the film. Yes. Our Lady indeed. And yeah, absolutely, me too. It's definitely something that I'm excited to see being brought to the big screen, because it's not something that is brought very often. And the fact, again, that someone on Deadline's writing an article about it being possibly a success and saying here religion back to the mainstream, it's not to say that they believe that it will, but the fact that they're even entertaining the idea is promising for me, at the very least. It is promising for me. Boomrock, that's a new name. How's it going? Eric K says, you will see what I was surfing for. Is that true, Eric K? Are you sending me something? 70B, thank you for letting him know. And also, Boomrock, thank you for tagging me in kind. So Boomrock says, what's the best way to request movie reviews from you? So obviously there's my email. There's my email address. Also, if you go to my website, ombReviews.home.blog. I know it's a mouthful, but it's actually not that bad. OMB, Odin's movie blog, but ombReviews.home.blog. There's a contact form up there where you can request movies. That you can be like, I want a review of this, or my website is meant to be kind of as an alternative to sites like Rotten Tomatoes. It's fallen behind because there's been no movies as of late, but obviously with things now reopening, I can start to try and get it back on track. But either way, also, you can request movies to be put onto the site So that way there's a page you can go to. You can leave reviews and stuff like that. It's very, very bare bones. Very, very bare bones. I'm not a coder at all. But yeah, there's a request option there too. And that will send it to my email. Let's see. Eric K says, why, yes, I am. Interesting. Are you going to tell me more, or is it going to be a secret? Is it going to be a secret, Eric K? Let me jump over to D-Laugh now to make sure that I am caught up on everything. Fat Elvis, thank you very much for the ice cream. Appreciate it. Mate says, I remaster audio and modernize old comedy for the same reasons you listed. I have 43K subs on YouTube. Very, very nice, good sir. I got about 22K myself. Says, I would love to work with you if any of your projects need audio love. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, so for now, I think that most of the projects that I have don't really need as much for audio touch-ups, because right now it's all about just preservation. So just finding the media itself, using things like Make MKV to make certain copies. DVD Fab, I think, is the other app that I found to use for DVDs specifically. And those are the best ways that I've found. Make MKV is a good way to make copies of Blu-rays and then be able to use another, it's called Image Burner, to turn the files into an image file. And then DVD Fab has been working well for DVDs. But thank you, I appreciate it. Peabody says, R2 isn't drunk, he is just intoxicated. I see. He keeps running into things. If you were sniffing the exhaust fumes from an X-Wing, wouldn't feel good either. This is very true. This is very, very true. Captain's the K-Man, Odin's apparent movie plot. That's pretty much it, man. That's pretty much it. Let's see. Hardwick says, Kristen Stewart was about 14 when Zathra was made. Jon Favreau directed. Her character's humor had more to do with the situations than her acting, but her acting was pretty good. But also, again, she was a kid actor, so you kind of usually get away with more. Soul Assassin then says, might I add Starship Troopers to that list of yours? Something tells me that the lunatics would go after it when they find it. For what reason? So the way that you can request movies, there is a film preservation page on my website too, and there is a form you can fill out to give a suggestion or recommendation for what you think should be preserved. But I do ask that in the form, you not just list the movie and the year that it was made, just to make sure it's the right one, but also that you give a reason as to why. Because some people have submitted movies and it's because it's a great movie, or because it's something that might be impacted one day, and not really giving any specifics. There's been others that have been great saying, this movie because there's one scene where this happens, or this movie because in the film, this actor dresses up in this way. So those are the kind of films and movies, films and shows that I can more easily go after because I know exactly why I should go after it, and I'm able to justify it in that way. But if I just get very generic explanations, it's just no. It's again, the project is meant to go after specifically those that are most at risk. So I have now caught up with the chat. Boom, right at around the 1 hour and 30-minute mark. So let me go ahead and wrap things up. So let's see here. Let me refresh this page really quick. Let me shout out my YouTube members who are at the Army of Asgard level and above. And obviously that has since changed as of today because Andrew Hoyle upgraded his membership. So with that in mind, shouting out Andrew Hoyle, Sushi Joe, Eric K, Orange Hat Reviews, Bruce, Adam Avery, Latino Slant, Larry, The Bosco 2000, Twirly Wolf, J Stowe, and Aiden Vickery. Thank you very much for being a part of the Army of Asgard level and above. Keeper of the Bifrost peeps, be on the lookout. I'm going to try and contact John the Flick Pick this week to get our next episode of the podcast out before the end of the month. So that way I'll get 2 episodes for the month, which is just about where it should be. And so stay on the lookout for that. Again, if you are a Keeper of the Bifrost, you get the video version of the podcast. As a part of your membership, it gets posted on the community feed. If you didn't know that you had access to it as a Keeper of the Bifrost, check out the community tab and you'll see that there are episodes listed there. If you're a Patreon or Subscribe Star member at the $10 level or above, I post all episodes in audio and video formats in the general post page. And be on the lookout. I will probably be posting the Q&A. So you have the option to ask your Q&A questions when you're at those levels too. And me and John both answer the questions on the episode. So Thank you very much. Boomrock, though, let's get those last questions. Boomrock says, do you think if the current events cause Hollywood to crash, will foreign movies thrive more? It really depends, because some foreign movies are very contained to their own country and really don't do well outside of their own country, while others could potentially do a little bit better. It's really hard to say and hard to predict at this point, though, because just because Hollywood burns doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to see other countries do well, or that they would even try to do well in American markets, because obviously that's going to cost them a lot more. Hypernex13 says, my brother, why don't you ship a drunk bromance of R2 Drunk 2 and Drunk 3PO? I spit on you at 2. I will not do that. No, that is disgusting. But 2, I spit on you. I spit on you. Golden Ration says, good night to you, good sir. Latino Slant is a member. Says, my pleasure, brother. God bless you. God bless you, Latino Slant. Thank you again for being a member. Thank you, Dean Heiss. Thank you to Orange Chat Reviews. Let me see any other members that are showing up right here. Last few seconds. Eric K., Andrew Hoyle as well. Andrew Hoyle, again, thank you for upgrading your membership today. That is awesome. And those are the more recent members. But again, all my members, thank you so much for the love, for the support. All my D-Live fam, you guys are awesome. Stick around. I'll take care of y'all like I normally do. So, yeah. To Stephanie B. Huge shout out to Stephanie B., the only Valk in the chat for tonight's stream. She did a great job. Thank you very much for modding. And luckily, things were relatively quiet on YouTube tonight. So, Dean Heiss, there's another member right there. And thank you very much, Stephanie B., again, for all the hard work that you've done, because I always appreciate it. Thank you. Anyway, that's going to be it for me, so stay tuned. The next stream should be Saturday evening. Obviously, I'll have the Friday stream over on Nerdrotic's channel around 5 p.m. Eastern Time, which, of course, is not always guaranteed because, as Laura always likes to say with her own name, we're always just waiting for Nerdrotic, as Mr. Roy is double dipping, jumping over to YouTube to say hi as well. But anyway, thank you all so very much for your love and for your respect and for doing everything and being amazing. Thank you again to Paul, Steve Carter, and James for your donations. Also keeps the lights on and keeps things running. So you guys are freaking awesome. D-Live fam, thank you again. Again, I will take care of y'all. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And as always, God bless. And now a huge shout out to all of my August Patreon and Subscribestar members. Starting on Patreon, Albertus Magnus, Animation Commentator, Brian P., David Bobrizik, Dion, Divex, Enrique Evangelista, Father Christopher Miller, Hail Father, Father Damian Cook, Frank the Tank and the Shawhan Wiener Dog Clan, Harold Francis, the Hunka Chunky Funky Monkey, Inflamed Wood, It's a Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jacob Juice, Jeffrey Toon, Jonathan Carney, Kenneth Cameo, Lady T, Laura Story, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mike Jackson, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin with the beautiful hair, On to June, Orange Hat Reviews, Out of Step with Reality, Riff Magos, Rosetta Allen, Steve Glasker, Teresa Martin, Theodore Bendon, Tina Bojan, and Tina B., my Valkyrie and Empress of the Universe. Thank you so much for supporting me on Patreon. And also, shout out to my Subscribestar peeps, Stand For, John B., Perpetual Punster, Robert Revo, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, Darkstar57, J. Alex McCarthy Jr., US 888209 Fast, Dean Heiss, Harold Francis, J-Rod the Beer Guru, Nebadon G. Adams, and ZK-Man. Thank you all so very much for supporting me this month. You guys are freaking awesome. If you want your name shouted out at the end of every single video and live stream, and also if you want to have access to special perks like giveaways and an exclusive podcast that I do with fellow YouTuber John the Flick Pig Flickinger, please check out Patreon, Subscribestar, and YouTube memberships in the links below. You guys are all awesome. I love you to death. Have a wonderful day, and as always, God bless. And also a shout out, because I forgot to add it in, because that's the kind of month it's been, to Outpost Dyer. Thank you very much, man. Again, because of the late charge on Patreon, it was kind of crazy. But yeah, Outpost Dyer, much love, Kyle. Hope everything is going well with the book as well. Love you guys. And yes, my hair has gone away again. God bless.